Republican Senator Judd Gregg of New Hampshire. Peter?
Well, thanks very much, Julia. I am joined by Senator Gregg, one of the Republicans who has publicly backed Ben Bernanke, did so several weeks ago and did again on Friday. Senator Gregg, your sense right now over this weekend, is Ben Bernanke safe?
Well, I think he's going to be confirmed because he's done a really good job of getting us through this extraordinary fiscal crisis that we confronted. We literally would probably be in a depression now had he not stepped in, pushed the envelope of what the Fed usually does, and basically settled out the financial markets and given them the resources and given the country the liquidity it needed to get through this problem.
Did you actually reach out to some of your Senate colleagues over the weekends, Republicans, and say, listen, it's time to step up and support this guy?
Well, I've talked to a few of them. I haven't done it in an advocacy role, but I've just tried to get a feel for where they are. And he had a fair number of folks supporting him on our side of the aisle because he has done a decent job, a very good job of handling this financial crisis. And I think he had a fairly good reservoir of support here, and I think he will when the vote comes.
At the end of the day, what do you think has caused this angst over Bernanke among, again, some of your colleagues, both on the Republican and Democratic side? Is it Ben Bernanke himself, or is it something larger?
Well, I think there are a couple things. First, the American people are angry and they're frustrated, and they're especially angry at Wall Street, and this is an easy target. I mean, the Fed is some sort of mythical being over here that nobody really understands. It is supposed to be separate from the government, from the elected government, so that monetary policy is not influenced by the populist fervor of the time, and we're seeing a lot of populism today. And so I think that he's an easy whipping boy, or the Fed is an easy target. And, you know, I see some of my colleagues say, well, he was responsible for this, he didn't see it coming. Well, they ought to look in the mirror. I mean, if there's a real cause for this event that occurred, the financial issues that were evolving around the real estate questions of lending to people who couldn't afford it or lending on real estate that didn't have value, the Congress should take a lot of blame for that, because we pushed Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac into that, and we also pushed banks into lending it to people who we knew couldn't repay because we thought everybody should own a house. So, you know, obviously he did play a role. The Fed did play a role in this problem. But he also played a major role, a very significant role, in making sure we got through it with the least amount of damage in a situation which was extremely tentative.
Do you worry that if a vote does indeed happen later on this week, and the indications are he will likely survive confirmation right now, that he's going to be a damaged Fed chairman? He's not going to be as effective in the job, even if he gets the job for another term?
No, not at all. I mean, populism has a natural peak and ebb to it. And I suspect this populism is going to start to ebb as people see that we're doing a lot of things around here which aren't constructive to the issue of getting our economy going and creating jobs, but may be good political sound bites.
All right, let me ask you about another big issue. You're the ranking Republican on the Budget Committee. You and the chairman, Ken Conrad of North Dakota, have teamed up on a proposal that this weekend got the president's backing, this idea of a bipartisan commission to deal with the country's fiscal issues. First of all, are you pleased the president's backing this idea, and how likely is it to win passage when it comes up for vote as early as tomorrow?
Well, it's important your listeners understand that there are two ideas here. One is statutory and one is executive order. Statutory commission makes a lot of sense. That's what Ken Conrad and I have proposed. The president did endorse it this weekend. Appreciate that, obviously. If you don't have statutory structure, then you can't have fast track, you can't have up or down votes, you can't have an absolute bipartisan vehicle which requires supermajorities. So if we could get a statutory commission, we could make a major stride down the roads towards getting our fiscal house in order. And we absolutely know without question that we are on an unsustainable path, and if we don't do something, this country is going to be in deep trouble financially relative to our debt and our deficits as we move down the road.
One of the criticisms, of course, has come from even some within the Republican Party that what this commission would do would essentially pave the way for guaranteed tax increases on Americans right now, and that Republicans like Judd Gregg shouldn't be backing something like that.
Well, you know, I hear that. I hear it on the left, I hear it on the right. On the left, they say it's going to affect Social Security. On the right, they say it's going to affect taxes. We have to understand, this country is on the brink of basically, in my opinion, becoming insolvent within 7 to 10 years. We're running up a debt level which will exceed 60% of GDP and hit 100% of GDP within 10 years. This is a dog chasing its tail. We cannot survive this as a nation. We're going to pass on to our kids a country where their prosperity is less than what we got from our parents. That's not fair. It's not right. And we have shown, beyond question, that the concept of regular order doesn't work around here on these big issues. And when my colleagues say, well, taxes shouldn't be on the table, or the folks on the other side say Social Security shouldn't be on the table, what they're really saying is, we don't want to do anything. Let's bury our head in the sands for another 4 or 5 years and then take this crisis on when it's beyond our capacity to do anything in a rational way, because it will be so overwhelming us. We'll either have to inflate the economy, or we'll have trouble selling our debt, or the tax increases would be so massive that they'd wipe out productivity. So let's take some action now. Let's actually govern. That's what we're paid to do.
All right, Senator Judd Gregg, Republican of New Hampshire, thank you for the time.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll be following that vote. Also talking with Senator Ken Conrad later on this afternoon about this same topic. Back to you for now in New York.
Thanks, Peter. Well,